There's Recovery on the inside, currently running first in open class. Recovery is a 40-foot skater powered by two 800-horsepower Mercury inboards and Merc Cruiser outdrives. Aboard Recovery, driver Stuart Hyam from Great Neck, New York. At the throttle, Bobby Moore. There's Apache Kid in super class. Apache Kid currently running second in super. There's Recovery on the inside, Apache Kid on the outside. Recovery is currently running in first place in open class. Recovery took first place in Texas earlier this year. Apache Kid on the outside is being throttled by Jerry Davis, who's doing an excellent job. Apache Kid on the inside is Recovery being throttled by Bobby Moore. As you can hear, the engines sound just fine. There's Apache Kid on the outside. Now we've got Recovery on the inside. The engines sound real good. Now, as we come up to Kid Apache Kid, we'd like to tell you that it's a 45-foot Apache, which apparently has no problem going through these choppy water conditions. Kid Apache Kid is, again, a 45-foot Apache powered by three 1,000-horsepower CNG Cobra engines and Merc Cruiser outdrives. Aboard Kid Apache Kid, driver Al Feingold from Virginia Beach, Virginia. At the throttle, Jerry Davis, and navigating Bob Horn from Voorhees, New Jersey. We're looking at Kid Apache Kid, its first race for the 1993 season. The Kid Apache Kid racing team would like to thank some of the sponsors, which include Delilah's Den, which is a gentleman's club, the Waterfront Restaurant and Deck in Somers Point, New Jersey, the Economy Restaurant and Bar Supply, and the Philadelphia Spring Company, and Chicky and Pete's Restaurant in Philadelphia. Jerry Davis on the throttle is doing a fine job. Just listen to those three 1,000-horsepower CNG Cobra engines. Kid Apache Kid currently second in the super class in this 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. There's the business end of this 45-foot Apache, the Merc Cruiser drives. The Apache Kid racing crew looks comfortable and good in their racing bolsters. We wish the Apache Kid racing team the very best of luck for the 1993 racing season. There's the Spirit of Numancia, a 40-foot coup with two 900-horsepower Eichert inboards and Merc Cruiser outdrives. Driving Spirit of Numancia, Fernando Sousa of Miami, Florida. At the throttle, Bob Idoni from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Now we come up on some pretty fierce competition in the M class. On the outside is Airborne, a 38-foot Cigarette, currently in first place. On the inside is Agitator, currently in second place in the M class, both fighting it out here in the modified class. There's Agitator, which is a 32-foot skater with a white, red, and yellow hull and dash, powered by two 650-horsepower United Racing inboards and Merc Cruiser outdrive. There you see Airborne on the outside, Agitator on the inside, fighting it out in M class. Some pretty stiff competition there. Looks like a pretty good race here, though it's still early. Once again, Agitator. Agitator's a 32-foot skater. Aboard Agitator is driver Alan Dunkman from Oak Brook, Illinois. At the throttle, Kurt Dunkman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Once again, you can see just how close these two boats are early in this 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix in the modified class. Agitator has a pretty good history. First off, some of its previous championships, it was undefeated national champion in 1991. And also, in the run for the Gold Series, it was the champion in 1992. And in 1992, also United States national champion as well as world champion. And there you see the two boats going around the turn, Agitator and Airborne. Pretty close now. Right around the turn, there's Airborne. Jumping over the water. And Agitator on the inside coming into the screen. By the way, Agitator came in first place in Texas earlier this year at the East-West Powerboat Shootout with an average speed of 79.24 miles per hour. There's that beautiful Atlantic City skyline in the background as these two boats battle it out in this Atlantic City Grand Prix. Both throttle men doing a fine job on the throttle as we hear those engines roar. Agitator also, by the way, was the overall high points winner in 1991 and the world record holder with 9 consecutive wins in 1991. You're looking at Agitator, still currently second in M class behind Airborne. Some of the other competition in the modified class include Phantom Offshore, Island Runner, Flying Tiger, Thunder, Endangered Species, and utterly fantastic. You're looking at the Agitator racing team. This is, once again, the 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. There's beautiful Atlantic City in the background. We'd like to wish the Agitator racing team the very best of luck for this 1993 season. These rough waters seem to be posing no problem at all for the Agitator race team. The boat looks and sounds good. Currently, we're on the leader in M class, Airborne, followed very closely by Agitator. There's a real good points battle going on between these two boats. Once again, Airborne is in first place right now. Airborne is a 38-foot cigarette with a red and white hull and deck, powered by two 850 horsepower United Racing engines and Merc Cruiser drives. Aboard Airborne, driver Art Gerard from Portland, Maine. At the throttle, Mike Gerard, also from Portland, and navigating is Bob Dewar from Boca Raton, Florida. Airborne came in first at the Florida Offshore Championships in St. Cloud, also in first place at Fort Apache Hooligans in Miami just last week. Now, the Airborne racing team would like to thank Chuck Cece and the entire staff from the United Racing Engine Manufacturing. The Airborne racing team has quite a winning history. They were the champions for the 1992 Offshore Nationals in B class. Also, the 1992 Southeast Divisionals, the 1992 OPBRA Gold Cup, and the champions in 1991 for the Northeast Divisionals. You're looking at the Airborne racing team, currently #1 in M class. This is the 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. Mike Gerard is doing a fine job on the throttle. Just listen to those United Racing engines. In open class is the Spirit of Numancia, battling it out with Recovery. The Spirit of Numancia is a 40-foot coupe with a white hull and deck, powered by two 900 horsepower Eichert inboards and Merc Cruiser closer out drive. Aboard Spirit of Numancia, driver Fernando Sousa from Miami, Florida. Throttle man is veteran Bob Idoni from Steamboat Springs, Colorado. The Spirit of Numancia took second place earlier this year at the East-West Powerboat Shootout in Texas with an average speed of 90.03 miles per hour. We're looking at the Spirit of Numancia. Now, the Spirit of Numancia and Recovery have really been battling it out all day, swapping first place back and forth, back and forth. So it promises to be quite a battle before this race is over. That's the Spirit of Numancia. The Spirit of Numancia racing team obviously did a very good job in getting this boat ready for the race. It seems well trimmed and has a good attitude. This is the Atlantic City Grand Prix. You're looking at the Spirit of Numancia racing team. Okay, here's some of the competition in B class. There's Pittman Photo Express closest to the camera, and just a little bit ahead is Final Persuasion. Pittman Photo Express is a 28-foot Manta with a yellow hull and white deck, powered by two 2.5 EFIs. Aboard Pittman Photo Express, driver Mike Werner from Coral Gables, Florida. At the throttle, Bill Udick from Miami, Florida. Navigating is Kevin Mountain from Miami, Florida. Pittman Photo Express took fourth place at the Florida State Offshore Championships in St. Cloud, and also fourth place at Fort Apache Hooligans earlier this year. There's Final Persuasion on the outside, of course, with the beautiful Atlantic City skyline in the background, and Pittman Photo Express coming up. Final Persuasion, and now it looks like it's passing Final Persuasion. There's some heated competition here between the two boats, which are pretty evenly matched since both have 2.5 EFIs powering the boats. It looks like the Pittman Photo Express now has passed Final Persuasion. And now Beach Bull there in the middle. Both boats now are seeming to pass Beach Bull, and they have. Beach Bull, of course, is in B class. Pittman Photo Express would like to thank Ed from Edit Marine and Don Swebb from Lake X. There's Pittman Photo Express on the inside, Final Persuasion on the outside. Throttle man Bill Udick on Pittman Photo Express doing a fine job. There's the crew. There's Final Persuasion on the outside, Atlantic City in the background. Pretty good competition here in B class between Pittman Photo Express and Final Persuasion. We wish the Pittman Photo Express racing team the very best of luck in this race and the remainder of the 1993 racing season. There we see Pittman Photo Express on the inside. Of course, it's battling Final Persuasion here in B class. Two boats very evenly matched. Final Persuasion is a 28-foot Fred's Custom with a white hull and deck, powered by two 2.5 EFIs. Driver of Final Persuasion, Dave Durder from St. Clair Shores, Michigan. At the throttle, Glenn Williams from Grosse Pointe, Michigan. Navigating Tony Pasolacqua from Windsor, Canada. Final Persuasion took sixth place in Lake Peoria, Illinois, earlier this year. We're looking at the Final Persuasion racing team. There is beautiful Atlantic City and, of course, the beach where many people are watching this race today. There's Final Persuasion in B class. Now here's the battle in S class. Here's Mobile One. And Mobile One is being pitted against Thin Ice on the outside. Mobile One, of course, is on the inside. Now, of course, the competition is very keen in this class because all the boats are pretty evenly matched. There's Thin Ice on the outside. There's Mobile One on the inside. Mobile One is a 24-foot skater, blue and white hull and deck with two 200 horsepower Mercury outboards. Driving Mobile One is Jim Bisline from Deerfield, Florida. At the throttle, Robert Loeffler from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Mobile One took third place in the Florida State Boat Championships in St. Cloud and first place at Fort Apache Hooligans with an average speed of 72.52 miles per hour. That's Mobile One there, fighting it out with Thin Ice in S class. By the way, Mobile One used to be Sundance Skater. It's called Mobile One, and the Mobile One racing team would like to thank Mobile One for allowing them to become Mobile One. I would also like to thank the Frank Equipment Sales Company in Fort Lauderdale, Timothy Wall Nationwide Insurance Agent, Graphics Effects, and their Atlantic City sponsor, Tucci's Italian Restaurant. They're looking at the Mobile One racing team. There's the Spirit of Numancia on the outside. There's Mobile One racing team right there. Currently fighting it out with Thin Ice, and their other competitor in S class includes Team Florida. No clear winner in this category, all fighting it out for position and have been swapping position all through this race. The other competition in this category is the Ragu racing team. Currently, we're on the Thin Ice racing team, a 24-foot skater powered by two 200 horsepower Mercury outboards. Driver for Thin Ice is Bill Durham from Mullica, New York. At the throttle, Steve Skorupski from Fort Myers, Florida. Thin Ice came in first at the East-West Powerboat shootout earlier this year. The Thin Ice racing team would like to thank Ed from Edit Marine and ABC Tank, which is their sponsor. Some of the other competition in S class, along with Thin Ice, of course, is Mobile One, Team Florida, and Ragu Racing. Freeze Frame Video feels that the S class is probably the most competitive of all classes, since the boats, all of the boats, are so evenly matched. And that's exactly what's happening right now. We're all battling, swapping leads now and then throughout the whole race. And, well, no one knows exactly who's going to be the winner in S class at this point. It looks like it will be a fight to the very finish. You're looking at Thin Ice in S class. There's the Thin Ice racing team doing a fine job. It really looks like the crew has gotten that boat ready for this race. Fine trim, good attitude. Thin Ice racing team. Now here we see just how close the competition is in S class, just what we were talking about before. As we see the boats competing, there's Quality Machine Products on the inside, Mobil 1 in the middle, and Thin Ice on the outside, all vying for position. This is the kind of thing they do just about every race throughout the year. Very close competition. There's Mobil 1 in the middle. Now, Quality Machine Products is a 24-foot skater with a white and red hull and deck powered by two 200-horsepowered Mercury outboards. The driver is Simon Taylor. He's also the navigator. At the throttle is Gary Lelou from Boca Raton, Florida. Quality Machine Products came in second place at Fort Apache Hooligans with an average speed of 71.63 miles per hour. We wish all the boats in the highly competitive S-Class the very best of luck in the 1993 season. The very best of luck to Quality Machine Products, Mobil 1, and Thin Ice. Currently number one in P-Class is Steel Lightning, a gorgeous 32-foot skater with a black hull and black deck, powered by three 2.5 EFIs. Aboard Steel Lightning, driver Alan Steele from Jacksonville, Florida. Throttle man is Alan Wagner from Orlando, Florida. Steel Lightning took fifth place earlier this year at the East-West Powerboat Shootout. And Steel Lightning was the 1992 World Champion in the Pro Outboard class. We're looking at the Steel Lightning Racing Team. The Steel Lightning Racing Team would like to thank everyone over at Lake X. There's the beautiful Atlantic City skyline in the background. Some of the other competitors in P-Class include Spirit of Houston, Patriot, Steel Lightning Racing Team has done a wonderful job getting this boat ready for this race, the 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. Throttle man Alan Wagner doing a fine job aboard Steel Lightning. Driver Alan Steele doing a fine job as well. Just listen to those power plants. The Steel Lightning Racing Team is doing a fine job in these choppy water conditions. We have freeze frame video. Wish the Steel Lightning Racing Team the very best of luck during the rest of the 1993 season. Currently in second place in P-Class is Patriot, a 35-foot motion with a white hull and deck powered by three 2.5 EFIs. Aboard Patriot, driver Lisa Greger from Orlando, Florida, and throttle man Bob Hamlin from Huntersville, North Carolina. The Patriot race team came in fourth place at the East-West Powerboat Shootout in Corpus Christi, Texas earlier this year, and in third place at the Fort Apache Hooligans with an average speed of 81.25 miles per hour. The Patriot Racing Team would like to thank its sponsor, Environmental Source Samples, and also Engel Marine for rigging and maintaining Patriot. Throttle man Bob Hamlin doing a fine job aboard Patriot, currently in second place in B-Class, as is Lisa Greger, who's driving Patriot. As we look at Patriot, really their competition not only in this race but for the rest of the season would be Steel Lightning, Spirit of Houston, and Geodynamic Industries. There's Spirit of Houston, which has been battling with Steel Lightning. Spirit of Houston also has triple EFIs. Now there's Patriot. The Patriot race team is doing a fine job in the brand new 35-foot motion. It has good attitude and is well trimmed. From Atlantic City, New Jersey, this is the 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix, and you're looking at the Patriot racing team. Those 2.5 EFIs sound real good. Bob Hamlin is doing a fine job of the throttle, as is Lisa Greger driving the Patriot. In M class, there's Flying Tiger, a 30-foot Chris Craft with black hull and black deck, powered by two 500-horsepower Tiger Marine inboards with Merc Cruiser drives. Aboard Flying Tiger, driver and navigator Sonny Hawkins from Elma, New York. At the throttle, Tina Blizniak, also from Elma, New York. Flying Tiger came in second place earlier this year at the East-West Powerboat Shootout in Texas. Flying Tiger Racing Team would like to thank some of the sponsors, which include NewTek, Dyno Engineering, Oliver Billet Rods, BDO Instruments, J&L Performance, Torque Engineering, Uber Marine, Anchor Electric, National Standard Parts, BP Fuels, Morris Controls, and Mobil Oil. I'd also like to thank the rest of the crew, which includes Troy Armbrust, John Barsh, and Rick Blizniak of the Flying Tiger Racing Team in M class. Some of the other competitors in M class include Airborne, Agitator, Phantom Offshore, and Island Runner. You're looking at the Flying Tiger Racing Team. Sonny Hawkins and Tina Blizniak doing a fine job aboard Flying Tiger. Flying Tiger has a good attitude. It looks and sounds excellent. The Flying Tiger race team in the 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. Of course, the second national race for this year for the APBA. Running very strong in M class is M911 Phantom Offshore. Phantom Offshore is a 35-foot Phantom with a white hull and deck, powered by two 750-horsepower inboards with Merc Cruiser outdrives. Aboard Phantom Offshore, driver Bill Hill from Orlando, Florida. At the throttle, Paul Changler, also from Orlando, Florida. Now, the Phantom Offshore racing team would like to thank Dennis Boyd from Boyd Racing Engines for building a reliable motor, and Haygood Marine for the propellers. By the way, Phantom Offshore M911 came in third place in East-West Powerboat Shootout earlier this year and got fifth place at the Port Apache Hooligans. Some of the other competitors in the modified include Airborne, Agitator, and Island Runner, and of course Flying Tiger as well. We can hear Mr. Paul Changler at the throttle doing a fine job aboard Phantom Offshore. And, of course, Atlantic City in the background. Of course, many of the spectators watching this race today are all along at Atlantic City Beach. You're looking at the Phantom Offshore Racing Team. The Phantom Offshore Racing Team looks good in their racing bolsters. Of course, those engines sound excellent. You're looking at Phantom Offshore. On the outside, you see In Excess from the Superboat class. In Excess is currently in first place in Superclass and in first place overall. That's In Excess. And there's Phantom Offshore on the inside. Once again, we feel that Phantom Offshore is currently running in the top 3 in the M class. Phantom Offshore. There's a close-up view of the cockpit. Throttle man and driver doing a fine job. Just listen to those engines. Currently number 1 in B class is Rock Solid. B1 Rock Solid is also the national champion and world champion. Rock Solid is a 33-foot fountain with a black hull and black deck, powered by two 600-horsepower Troy Dennis inboards and Mercruiser outdrives. Aboard Rock Solid, driver Kurt Harbour from Seabrook, Texas. Throttle man Art Lilly from Millersville, Maryland. Navigating is Rodney Robel from Houston, Texas. Rock Solid came in third place at the East-West Powerboat Shootout, and also in first place at the Lake Peoria, Illinois, with an average speed of 88.70 miles per hour. Rock Solid Race Team supports the Rouen Grand Prix at Car Racing Des Moines, Iowa, to be televised live on July 9th. Team motto, performance driven. Its main sponsor is Prudential Securities, and in Atlantic City, Taj Mahal sponsors Rock Solid Racing Team. Once again, Rock Solid currently in first place in B class. As we look at Rock Solid and the crew looking good in their racing bolsters, we see Thunder in M class on the outside. Thunder is a 33-foot fountain with a white hull and deck, powered by two 625-horsepower Mercury inboards and Mercruiser outdrives. Aboard Thunder, driver Alex Carkenny from Media, Pennsylvania. His son Scott is at the throttle. We're looking at Thunder. Rock Solid and its crew. Looking good, good attitude, good trim on that. In M class, M55 Island Runner. Island Runner is a 41-foot Apache with a wide hull and deck, powered by two 800-horsepower Stotler racing inboards and Mercruiser outdrives. Aboard Island Runner, owner and throttle man Frank Kerback from Palmyra, New Jersey. Driving is Herb Stotler, also from Palmyra, New Jersey. And along for the ride is Charlie Kerback. And, of course, we shouldn't forget the navigator. That's John Stash. We're looking at the Island Runner Racing Team. Some of the other competitors in the modified class include Phantom Offshore, Agitator, Airborne, and Thunder. Looking at the Island Runner Racing Team. Doing a fine job there. We'd like to wish the Island Runner Racing Team the very best of luck for the 1993 season. Those engines sound real good on Island Runner. Throttle man Frank Herbeck doing a fine job. Island Runner Racing Team. There's Flying Tiger in M class, apparently having some mechanical problems, has retired from the race for the moment anyway. There's always the possibility that it could get it fixed and get going again in the race. It had been doing very well in the race up till this point. Number 1 in C class is C777 Harazuba. Harazuba is a 34-foot Suppin with white hull and white deck, powered by two 700 horsepower Innovation inboards and Mercruiser outdrives. Aboard Harazuba, driver Max Seelig from Atlantic City, New Jersey. At the throttle, Jason Seelig, and navigating Jeff Seelig, also from Atlantic City, New Jersey. Harazuba took first place at the East-West Powerboat Shootout earlier this year with an average speed of 68.09 miles per hour. By the way, Max Seelig, the driver and owner of Harazuba, his lovely wife Kay is the president of the Atlantic City Offshore Racing Association. And of course, she had a lot to do with organizing this event, this great event here in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And we at Freeze Frame Video would like to thank her for that, because it's really turned out to be a great race. Of course, Harazuba and the rest of the crew of Harazuba racing here in Atlantic City must be very special for them, since they are hometown people right here in Atlantic City, racing on their home turf. They're looking at the Harazuba Racing Team. Also, Harazuba would like to thank many of the people, many of the sponsors who keep them in top winning form. Some of those sponsors include Harrah's Casino Hotel in Atlantic City, Zubaz Inc., International Game Technology, Atlantic City Coin and Slot Service Company, Mobile Racing, and Innovation Marine Corporation, which makes the engines, and of course the Suppin Marine Corporation, which is the boat manufacturer. We're looking at the Harazuba Racing Team, currently number 1 in C class. In second place in C class is C930 Power Play Racing. Power Play Racing is a 33-foot power play with a multicolored hull and deck, powered by three 2.5 EFIs. Driving Power Play Racing, Mr. John Lombardi from Deerfield, Florida. At the throttle, Ed Thornton from Fort Lauderdale. The Power Play Racing Team would like to thank some of its sponsors, which include Club Boca, Porsche Tech, Ken Stratner, East Coast Aviation, and Power Play Racing. Special thanks to Mr. Steve Kaplan from Club Boca. Power Play Racing is rigged and maintained by Edit Marine, which is owned and operated by Mr. Ed Thornton of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You're looking at the Power Play Racing Team, currently number 2 in C class. Throttle man Ed Thornton doing a fine job at throttle, as is driver John Lombardi from Deerfield, Florida. Good-looking boat. Well-trimmed, good attitude. Currently number 2 in C class. Some of the other competitors in C class, along with Power Play Racing, include Team Power Play, Ramada Inn, Change Order, and Special Edition. Once again, Harazuba is number 1. Power Play Racing, number 2. There's the Independence boat on the outside in the A class. Those 3 2.5 EFIs sound excellent. We pull out from Power Play Racing. Crew doing a fine job keeping Power Play Racing right on course in this 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. The second national race for the APBA. There's the beautiful Atlantic City skyline in the background. That's a pretty shot. In M class, there's Thunder, a 33-foot fountain with a white hull and white deck, powered by 2 625 horsepower Mercury inboards with MerCruiser outdrives. Aboard, driver Alex Carkenny from Media, Pennsylvania. At the throttle, Scott Carkenny, also of Media. That's Alex's son. The Thunder Racing Team would like to thank Offshore Performance from Summer Point, New Jersey, for their help and assistance in getting the boat ready for this race. Doing a great job. That's the Thunder Racing Team. In B class, there's Tsunami. B-26 is a brand new 34-foot subfin. Brand new boat for the 1993 racing season. Tsunami has a white and blue hull and deck, powered by 2 550 horsepower Chevy inboards with MerCruiser outdrives. The driver of Tsunami is Robert Bradley. At the throttle, Dennis Bradley. Navigating is Joe Walthier. They're all from Burlington, Ontario, Canada. You're looking at the Tsunami Racing Team. Some of the other competitors in the highly competitive B class, along with Tsunami, Rock Solid, Spirit of Naples, Sudden Impact, of course, Tsunami, and also Imagine That, and Dragon Lady, and Final Persuasion we saw earlier in the race. You're looking at the Tsunami Racing Team, a brand new boat, brand new 34-foot subfin from the 1993 season. Throttle man Dennis Bradley doing a fine job there. Just listen to those engines, those 550 horsepower Chevy inputs. Boat looks good. Those engines sound excellent. We'd like to wish the Tsunami Racing Team, with their brand new boat, the very best of luck for the 1993 season. Running very strong in B class is B91. Imagine that. Imagine that's a 29-foot Mirage with a blue and white hull and deck, powered by 2 550 horsepower Bandit inboards with MerCruiser drives. Aboard Imagine That, driver Dan Dominski from St. Petersburg, Florida. At the throttle, Scott Langvine from Brink, New Jersey. Navigating is Pete Bunton from St. Petersburg, Florida. The Imagine That Racing Team would like to thank its sponsors, DAP Motorsports, and also ML Chasers. ML Chasers is a Tampa Bay rock and roll club in Clearwater, Florida. One of the other crew members also includes Gary Dianco, the Imagine That Racing Team. Boat looks pretty good, and it's doing a fine job. The crew's doing a fine job. That is the Imagine That Racing Team, running very well in this 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. Imagine that is up against Tsunami, Sudden Impact, Spirit of Naples, and Rock Solid, among some of the other boats in Offshore B. There was a little concern earlier before the race started about these choppy waters, but at this point, no problems at all. Boats are handling it very, very well. In P class, P19 Beach Bull Cheers is having a respectable showing in P class. Beach Bull Cheers is a 32-foot conquest with a black hull and white and pink deck, powered by 3 2.5 EFIs. Aboard Beach Bull Cheers, the driver Tim Baker from Lakeport, Michigan. At the throttle, Jim Baker from Port Huron, Michigan. Beach Bull, by the way, earlier this year took first place at the Runaway Island in Panama City. Some of the other crew members aboard Beach Bull include Bob Green, Barry Lang, and Jeff Anderson. You're looking at the Beach Bull Cheers racing team. Like we said before, they are having a respectable showing. A couple of the other boats in P class have retired because of various problems. They include Slick 50 and Geodynamic Industries. Some of the other competitors in that class include Spirit of Houston, Steel Lightning, and Patriot. Of course, there's a battle there going on between Spirit of Houston and Steel Lightning. You're looking at the Beach Bull Cheers racing team. This is the 1993 Atlantic City Grand Prix. Atlantic City becoming known as the World's Playground. And of course, this is the second national race for the APPA this season. There's Agitator on the outside. Agitator, of course, in the modified class, fighting it out with Airborne. A race that started, really a battle that started between Airborne and Agitator from the very beginning. And it's lasting right down the stretch here. You're looking at the Beach Bull Cheers racing team. There's Thin Ice on the inside. Thin Ice is an S-class, battling it out for first place with Mobil 1. On the far outside is Dragon Lady in B class, B5. As we see Independence in A class being passed by Thin Ice and Dragon Lady. Now as we push into Dragon Lady, B5, Dragon Lady's a 33-foot thoroughbred with a white hull and deck. Now, of course, we see Thin Ice once again on the inside here. Still battling with Mobil 1. That's a tight race there in S class. And it looks like it will be going down to the wire. As we begin to look at Dragon Lady, as we said before, that is a 33-foot thoroughbred powered by 2 550-horsepower Tampa Bay inboards with Merc Cruiser outdrives. Aboard Dragon Lady, driver Ronald Reith of Avon Lake, Ohio. At the throttle, John Provenzano from Tampa, Florida, navigating Susan Reith from Avon Lake, Ohio. Dragon Lady came in second place earlier this year at the Florida State Offshore Championships. Dragon Lady would like to thank Steve Stepp of Thoroughbred Powerboats, and of course John Provenzano of Tampa Bay Marine, manufacturer of the boat. Some of the other crew members include Chris Lahusky and Don Harvell. You're looking at the Dragon Lady racing team. Some of the other competition in B class, Spirit of Naples, Sudden Impact, Rock Solid, Imagine That, and Final Persuasion. Those 2 550-horsepower Tampa Bay inboards sound excellent. Of course, driver Ronald Reith, throttle John Provenzano, and navigator Susan Reith are all doing an excellent job. They're the Dragon Lady racing team. Dragon Lady, a 33-foot thoroughbred. The S-Class is probably one of the most competitive classes in this race, and that's because the boats are so evenly matched. Some of the other competitors in S-Class include Mobil 1, Thin Ice, and Ragu Racing. This one you're looking at Team Florida. The Atlantic City skyline in the background. This is the second national race for the APBA this year. This is the Atlantic City Grand Prix. There's C-22 Ramada Offshore.